you discover you were pro-life?
About October 2004, I was up late one night and I couldn't sleep. And there was a speaker coming in talking about abortion on our campus. And being the person who kind of likes to know what's going on, but just enough so that I look like I'm informed, I kind of had this weighing on my heart. And one night I just kind of went and looked up abortion pictures online, and I saw the first picture and it hit me, and I couldn't believe that this was actually happening, and that's what abortion actually was. And I started crying, and I cried, and I cried, and I cried, and that first 15 minutes of crying hysterically, I decided this is what I want to do with the rest of my life. This is what I'm going to fight against. This is going to be my cause. And in finding that out and in becoming pro-life, I just lit a fire in my heart. And my life actually had purpose at that point. Before that, I was really floundering and didn't really know where I was going. And once I became pro-life, I had a goal, I had a direction, I had a purpose, and I did everything I could to be effective at being pro-life and spreading the message.
Okay, after that event, when did you begin to be active? We know what caused it, the activity, but when did you begin?
The very next day, I went and I participated in the Genocide Awareness Project on my college campus, and since then I've been going to different pro-life activities, just talking with people, engaging people on campus, going out and leafleting the campus. I went on and participated in a pro-life walk last summer, and then again this summer I'm with the Missionaries of the Eucharist, and just getting the message out there, spreading Christ's love, because that's what's going to change hearts, convert them to the fullness of truth, and bring them out of the darkness into the light.
Okay, do you do counseling, or are you a prayer, or do you do both?
I did counseling in a few extreme situations, and it's just really not for me. I'm a lot more forceful and a lot more fierce in my convictions, and there's a lot of people that I know that are just they have that gentle spirit and that gentle aspect to them that is just so beautiful, and the women really, really respond to that. So for me, I feel as though I'm much better at praying at the mill and assisting and serving the counselors as much as I can, bringing them water when they need it, bringing them more rosaries when they need it, helping to lead those who are praying, and just kind of serving at the mill rather than actually being on the front lines as a counselor, or being out kind of in the open and as more of a public figure, but being in the background is kind of more what God has called me to, and so it works out very well.
Cool. Do you think that the prayers, especially the rosary, has an effect in causing turnarounds?
I think that without prayer, turnarounds are really not likely, and I don't really want to go as far as to say impossible, but they're probably close to impossible without prayer support. And having a counselor say to a woman, look at all these people over to the side, look at all these people here who are praying for you, specifically for you, and having that prayer support and the woman seeing that, and in the darkness that she feels and the darkness that she feels like she's caught in, seeing that light, that ray of hope, that small affirmation that someone loves me, someone is supporting me, someone is giving me the hope to get out of this situation, even that small light is just a huge, huge deal for many women, and a huge, huge effect, has a huge effect on them, because our culture is in the darkest of nights, the darkest of nights, and praying at the mill is that beacon of light, the light of Christ, the light for the world that God calls us to be. So.
Okay, do you remember any little story about a turnaround you could tell us about? Maybe something you had a hand in, or?
I didn't really have a hand in it. I kind of witnessed it. I don't speak Spanish, but fortunately when I was walking last summer, we had some Spanish speakers with us, and there was a woman who was walking into a Planned Parenthood who had 2 small children, and then she was carrying a small child, plus she had a child in the womb. And one of our counselors went up to her and said, I'm not sure what you're doing right now, but are you going in for an abortion? And she said, yes, I am. And he said, are you Catholic? And usually that's not something that is brought up, but she said yes, and he said, did you know that the church tells us that's wrong? And that's all she needed to hear. She just needed one person to tell her it was wrong. She just needed one person to stand outside of a clinic and inform her that there are better options and that doing what she was doing was wrong. And I think that's such a testament to why any pro-lifer who is not outside of a mill on Saturday morning really needs to reevaluate what they're doing in the pro-life movement. I really think that people need to be out talking to people. They need to be out there as a witness for life. And it's hard, and it's no fun. And some people say, oh no, I feel like I'm condemning the women. The women need you. They need your love, they need your prayers, and it's a matter of life and death. You are saving someone's soul, you're saving someone's life, and you're potentially changing the world. So women, men, young, old, everyone needs to be out on a Saturday morning in front of a mill praying for the change of heart for women who are going and leading their children off to the slaughter.
Has knowing Monsignor Riley been a help, and how about his guidance?
Monsignor Riley, I'm waiting for his canonization process to open. So he is amazing, and just knowing, I had a lot of problems when I started out, just being so angry at the fact that the culture of death was actually occurring, and that I was so aware of the fact that abortion was such an awful thing, that having his prayer method and having that as a method of prayer based in the rosary, based in what Our Lady has given us as the most effective prayer, is just really been a guidance when I cannot guide myself, when I cannot go through being on the front lines myself without having some sort of set prayer in front of me. Now I'm much more compassionate with women, and I know a lot of the women feel that there's no other option. And just having that in the beginning of my pro-life conversion and going through and knowing that, being told over and over again because of Monsignor Riley's prayer book, because of the people that I was with, because of the pro-life culture that I was kind of raised in, quote unquote, just was very helpful, and really has made me a better pro-lifer, more effective, more prayerful, and understanding the true nature of the pro-life battle, that it's not a matter of numbers, how many babies we save, it's a matter of souls, because we're here to save the soul of the mother and the soul of the child, the soul of the escorts, and we're leading people to heaven. That is our job. And it is, I think, the best way to make new disciples for Christ, to bring people closer to Christ, out of a terrible situation, out of pure evil. God always brings fruit. And so I definitely think that this calling is the most important of all callings, because it is a matter of life or death.
Do you have new friends, others that are active in saving moms and babies?
I'm not sure what you mean by that question.
Oh, well, since you became proactive, did you gain new friends? In other words, people that, think the same way that you do?
It's a kind of an odd thing that you can tell who else has that same mentality as you by, say, what they hang in their rearview mirror, how they carry themselves, what types of words they use, if they have a certain pin on the little precious feet, and you are automatically attracted to that person and attached to them in ways that are deeper than just conversation. You are instantaneously have this camaraderie that you wouldn't have, I think, with any of the other issues, that their struggles and they know yours, and you understand each other in a deeper light before even meeting.
Is it important that others come to the clinics and work in a prayerful and peaceful atmosphere?
Absolutely. It's necessary. It's the only way to end the culture of death.
Okay. How about should high school and college kids get involved and come to the clinic?
Absolutely. I think that being outside of a mill and knowing what the women go through, and knowing the sheer pain on their face as they walk into the clinic and the agony as they walk out, makes it more of a necessity for as many people to be outside as possible, but especially high school and college students, especially women, and those who are willing to stand for life. It's absolutely necessary for them to be out there, because most of the women who are going in are college age, and to see others who are young like they are, and to see others who are in the same situation as they are, may have be in the same class as they are. Seeing that is such a testament to them and helps them to know that, okay, I'm not alone in this situation. There are other people who think that me saving my child's life is a good thing, is a valid and noble cause, and they think more of me and more of my child than I might think about myself right now. And just seeing that love, especially from someone who is their age and in their peer group, is so much more powerful and much more influential, I think. So I definitely think that it's very, very important for high school and college students to be out in front of the mills.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well, I haven't really done very much in the pro-life ministries because I just started, but the few times that I've been to the abortion clinic, I think that in my interaction with people there, I've experienced a lot of coldness, a lot of fear, a lot of I guess sadness in the woman's eyes, a lot of people that just look lost, and I would just have to say with pro-life ministry, I think it's taught me, if anything, how to be a Christian. I feel like a real Christian, like I feel like a martyr. I feel humiliated a lot of the times, but if there's one thing that Monsignor Riley has taught me, in listening to him speak about this ministry, it's that it has to do with the conversion of Christians, of sinners, the conversion of our hearts. And I feel like that's what I've experienced the most in that struggle of just being out there in the public, doing something that isn't really okay in the society that we live in right now. Approaching people that I know don't want to talk to me. I was at an abortion clinic in Miami, and there are high walls up around the clinic, and I had the chance to be out there with one of my friends in Sidewalk Council, and it was really difficult because it was just cars driving by that were honking at us. It was a hot day. A lot of the people that came with us that were missionaries weren't in the mood to pray, really. They were kind of doing their own thing, and so I focused on praying for the mothers that were inside, for the children that were inside, and I got to briefly speak with someone that I think was maybe a boyfriend or a father that was waiting for his girlfriend to have an abortion. I totally thought he would be closed off to me, and it turned out he took the rosary, he took the information that I had for him. It didn't seem like he was completely there, but it was so hopeful in that moment, because I thought he would just totally reject me or say something that would make me feel uncomfortable, but he took the information and he said thank you and he walked away. But I've definitely experienced what it feels like to give back to the Lord, and that's something that's very difficult, but so worthwhile. Amen.
Okay, what city are you from in Australia?
I'm from Adelaide, South Australia.
Okay, now you were at the prayer vigil 2 weeks ago at the clinic in Brooklyn. Can you give me an idea what your impression is of that prayer vigil?
I found it to be very confronting, especially compared to Adelaide. We don't have much confrontation in Adelaide, so to see such a loud display and such colourful language used, and it was very, very different to what we're used to. So it was actually quite a stark reality between the pro-life and the pro-choice camps. To see the difference is such it's mind-opening, really. So it gives you an idea of what we're really up against.
Yeah, so the pro-abortion people are quite aggravating, I guess. But you kept your composure, right?
I did. At one point, it's quite upsetting though, really, when you see their displays, because you realise that we're also there for their souls. So to be praying for their souls, I found myself praying more for them than for the mothers going in. And I think that it just goes to show that there's so many more than one battle going on here. There's people that need salvation everywhere. So to see the difference, I just found it, to be very I don't know, just very confronting in that way.
When did you discover you were pro-life?
The first time I heard about abortion, I was 12 years old, and I remember there was some legal battle going on in Adelaide, and my mum explained to me what abortion was, and I remember thinking, how could they do that? You know, how could somebody do that to a baby? I couldn't understand it, and after that, I spent weeks just crying myself to sleep and praying and crying and thinking, what can I do? What can I do? And I was only 12, so I had no idea what I could do. But that's when I started going along to the pro-life vigils with my mum. And so that was definitely the point in my life when I became adamantly pro-life.
How did you become more active in pro-life work?
Probably through mum and also through the other helpers in Adelaide. Marguerite Wills was very active in the helpers in Adelaide, and her charism for life actually is what drew me in. And so to see other people so on fire for life, I think just makes you just really ignites a fire in your soul.
Okay. Have you tried to get others involved in pro-life work?
Yes, I have. It's not very easy to do though, because a lot of people, especially people at my age, they find it easier to ignore the problem, or they are often dragged in to the problem and they end up being pro-choice. So it's very difficult to get people to come out of their comfort zone and to make a stand, to be uncomfortable, to stand there and pray, and to actually just, you know, take up the fight. It's very difficult.
Okay. Have you had any successes in bringing people into the pro-life movement, or?
I think I have. I think that I've got a couple of my close friends that until I'd met them, they really didn't know much at all about the abortion debate. They didn't really pay too much attention to it. But since I've sort of become friends with them, they've actually become quite active in the vigils, and during all of 40 Days for Life, they've spent hours down there themselves. And I think that it's very encouraging to see that, especially when you know that you've sort of contributed to it. So.
Okay. Do you do sidewalk counselling or praying at the abortion sites?
I do. I do sidewalk counselling and praying. And the sidewalk counselling actually is, I find it to be a very rewarding experience, because just to speak to these women, even the ones that have come out after they've had an abortion, to be able to speak to them and to be able to get them to hear your side, and to be able to get them to realise that God does love them and that He is still there for them, waiting for them. It's such a touching experience, and I love doing it.
Okay. How about your family? Have they had a formative role in your pro-life beliefs? You mentioned your mother.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about her? Or?
Yeah, my family is all pro-life. My mum is definitely the most involved, as well as myself. But my older siblings, they've sort of, like my older sister, she's married with her own children and whatnot. But my mum's definitely been one of my biggest role models. She keeps me going. She gets me up in the morning and makes me go. So she's definitely a good motivator. She's definitely kept me going.
Okay. Has your involvement in pro-life work affected your faith?
Absolutely. Everything that I do affects my faith, but this is definitely something that it's almost just, it's paramount in my faith. It's such a big aspect of it that I focus my faith around my pro-life work rather than the other way around. But definitely has made a huge impact on my faith.
Okay. Have you developed new friendships through your pro-life activities?
So many new friendships. So many people in Sydney I've gotten to know, and I've been to Sydney a few times for pro-life events, and to get to know them there, it's just been such a massive part of my life. Everyone at Family Life International, they're fantastic. And also in Adelaide, I've gotten to know so many people I didn't know before the pro-life work started.
Okay, is it important that others get involved in peaceful, prayerful, pro-life activity?
Absolutely. It is our mission, it is our goal, our job, our responsibility to ask God for mercy. And as Christians, this is not something that is optional. We have to get involved. We have to make a difference. We have to make a stand. We have to make a peaceful stand though. And I think that the more people that get involved, the bigger the pro-life movement will be, and therefore there will be such a better chance of conquering this culture of death. So absolutely.
Do you have any words of encouragement for those who haven't been yet involved in pro-life apostolate?
I think that I would say to get involved, because it impacts you so personally, and when you realize how many people have abortions, you realize that so many people that you know are affected, and you yourself are somehow affected. You may not even realize it, but it touches every single person's life. And so definitely I would encourage anybody to get involved.
Do you have a final thought? Is there something you'd like to say you haven't said so far?
I think I've said a lot so far, but definitely that I would just leave you with the words of Mother Teresa of Calcutta, saying there are too many children are like saying there are too many flowers. It's not possible.
When did you start to be active, taking, say, a position at abortion clinics or prayer council?
Sure. It was almost immediately. Like it just clicked. Within a year, I was baptized and confirmed Catholic. Within a year, I was praying at the local Planned Parenthood at least once a week, sometimes even 3 or 4 times a week. I'd take my lunch breaks with friends and just go down and pray a rosary. Just absolutely 100% transformed.
Yeah. Do you do any counseling, or you just pray?
I did counseling in the Planned Parenthood in Denver, and I did do some in Washington, D.C., but I feel I'm called to be, prayer support, that I'm more effective praying for the counselors and the moms and the dads than I am talking to them.
Okay, what do you think is the best method in praying?
Monsignor Riley's book, absolutely.
That's the best method. Right?
Monsignor Riley's book is the best method for praying at abortion facilities.
Okay, do you think that the prayers, especially the rosary, has an effect in causing turnarounds?
I mean, Padre Pio said the rosary is the weapon. It is the weapon for fighting the culture of death. It is the weapon for our own personal conversions. It is the weapon for bringing Christ to earth, because it's a meditation on Mary, and Mary is the best way to bring Christ to others.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any little story you could tell us about a turnaround that you remember, something that sticks in your mind?
I think just the simple turnarounds that I've experienced, where either through phone calls or being at the mills live, where people just say, hey, pray for this person, they're considering abortion, and no great fanfare or anything, and they walk out. Or you get that phone call the week later that said, thank you for your prayers, this baby is alive here today because of them. I think because those stories we may get used to them because they happen so often, but they're so powerful in their simplicity that would you pray, the prayer is answered, the baby is here.
Good. Has knowing Monsignor Riley been a help, and how about his guidance?
Absolutely. I mean, for me personally, and the influence of the group I'm with, my Missionaries of the Eucharist. In Denver, when I first started getting involved in sidewalk counseling, it was a very negative experience for me, just because of the people who were there. They would have their Bible in one hand and a megaphone in the other hand, and were explicitly condemning the women going in. Calling them murderers, saying you're going to hell, all these different things, and the women were running in. They couldn't get in fast enough, because on the other side, they were meeting receptionists, and abortionists, who were kinder than that, which didn't take much, and that led to a lot of frustration. So seeing Monsignor's method of, the counselors and the prayer warriors simply being Christ to others is transforming, and I'm not surprised he's so effective.
I see. Do you now have new friends, others that are active in saving moms and babies?
Yeah, no, absolutely. In D.C., everybody uses the Monsignor Riley method at the local Planned Parenthood. And that was kind of a slow progression. Different groups would come in from different universities, people who were kind of there for 10 or 20 years, all trying to do their own different methods, and there'd be lots of conflict. But you'll know them by the fruits of their works. I mean, people did Monsignor Riley's method. It was the most effective. So now everybody's doing Monsignor Riley's method, and just kind of spreading that out there. Getting as many people as possible to do it.
Mm-hmm. Is it important that others come to the clinics and work in a prayerful and peaceful atmosphere?
Yeah, I mean, without prayer, the counseling is no good. I mean, works without faith is pointless. Counseling without the prayer support, it really are just hollow words.
Yeah. Should high school and college kids get involved and come to clinics?
Especially high school and college kids should get involved, because their peer group are the people who are killing their babies predominantly, and they need their own peers to be telling them, hey, I'm in your same shoes. I'm being assaulted by the same culture of death, but there's a better way, than abortion, and to really help them through that. So especially, that peer relationship is vital to spread the culture of life.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you,
David,
Jack.
very good.